Hey everybody, it's Angela, and welcome to part 3 of my kind of coronavirus journal that I'm making. And I'm starting now with the month of April, and I'm trying really hard to kind of get through April and kind of get caught up. And so this is my first entry. I do forget that I really had wanted to put a tabbed page here to start the month of April, and I forgot. So I'll wind up inserting one. So this story, even though it's in April, will wind up kind of being over in the March section once I put the tab in, but that's okay. So I'm going ahead and putting a green mat down because that paper was kind of busy, that yellow paper. And I put that April tab on the top. And I have 2 pictures of some asparagus. This is our asparagus bed, and it was really pretty that day. And you can see there, our asparagus bed is right near our orchard. So the almond trees were blooming pink there behind it, and the rhubarb was coming up, and then we have asparagus. And so I spent some time out there weeding. My husband came out and helped me too, and we weeded the whole asparagus bed so there wasn't the competition for the asparagus spears. And we eat, quite a bit out of this bed, and so it was really great to have this fresh spring vegetable to be able to utilize. And it was also neat to be able to just sit out there and kind of relax a little bit, kind of unwind. The world keeps turning. Mother Nature doesn't care. The earth doesn't care what we're going through. The cycles continue, and there's just nothing we can do about it, and you just should relax and kind of go with the flow. And so it was a little bit nice to have some time for reflection and some decompression. So I just put some letter stickers at the bottom, and I'm outlining those because they didn't show up real well against that green background. Then I'm going through this Create 365 sticker book, pulling off a couple of these little round kind of green stickers just to give a little extra interest there. And then there was also a little journaling block that had some green on it, kind of a green watercolor effect. So I go ahead and pull that off so I can do some journaling. And then I think I find a little label here where I can put the actual date. And I don't know if that's the one where I mislabel it by the month and have to go and change it, because I keep thinking it's still March because I was so into March there, but it's April now. We did have another kind of traumatic thing that happened, and that was were heading to another city to pick up some seed to plant a field, and our truck broke down. And we weren't even sure that there would be any tow truck companies available because so many things were newly shut down. But luckily our neighbor came and got us. He has a car trailer, and we were able to load the car on there. And he also has a code reader that he was able to use on our car. And so we found out that there was a bunch of water. We must have gotten a slug of water the last time we filled up with diesel, and it got into the injectors. And so it was going to be an expensive repair just for the parts, let alone for labor. There was just no way we were going to be able to afford that. So my husband was going to do the work, and we didn't want to use a rental car because we wanted to be able to put that money toward the parts and stuff. And so my husband's he's not a diesel mechanic. He knows his way around, working on cars and stuff, but this was pretty intense, pretty high level diesel mechanics. And I was so impressed. I mean, he went on YouTube and learned how to do this, how to fix it. So I was amazed. It took him 7 days of hard slog, but he got it fixed, man. So, because otherwise we had no other vehicle to drive. So we needed to get that fixed and, be able to buy groceries for people we were helping and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty stressful. So during that 7 days, I would still go out and do weed eating. So you can see in this picture, there's a fence there that I had just freshly done the weed eating on. And then the picture below it is my husband on the tractor with a brush hog. When he'd get a break or he needed to get away from that pickup truck, he'd go and do some mowing out in the field, mow the perimeters and fence lines and stuff like that. So yeah, the work just keeps going on. It doesn't stop. And so, you know, we do our remote work usually in the mornings, and then take some time to go do some farm work, and then come back in and catch up any more of our remote work, and then do a little bit more farm work. So kind of go back and forth through the day, and it keeps us busy. It keeps us from watching the news or thinking too much about what's going on, because there's just really not much we can do about it. So I'm going to go ahead and use some foam thickers to title this one, Work Goes On. I put my date on there. And then I have this photo that I want to talk about, and I pull out a journaling card to go below it, but they're both a little bit too big to fit on this piece of paper, this page. So I look for a bigger page farther on in the book, and I find the yellow one here with these polka dots that now my picture will fit on there. And it's of all of my home canned. I used home canned beef and tomatoes, and then dried garlic and dried peppers, and then frozen carrots, celery, potatoes, and sweet peppers, all from our garden that I processed myself. And it was just so neat to be able to use all these things that I had preserved and have them come together for vegetable beef soup. And normally I put up all these vegetables. It's like on the weekend I'd really love to be doing something fun, but I spent a lot of time preserving instead. And I do it because I don't know if there's going to be like a snow or ice storm where we can't get out for a couple weeks, or there might be an economic downturn or a crop loss where we're just short on funds, or an earthquake, or who knows what. But so, I always have a couple weeks at least of food that I prepared on hand. I just never knew it was going to be a pandemic that I'd really, be needing it for, be so glad that I had it for. So that was pretty cool. And so I used some brown letter stickers to do the vegetable soup and yum. And then I wanted to put something kitchen related on here. And I remembered I had these dazzles from Hot Off the Press, and they're in brown too. And so I thought I'd go ahead and put some kind of more cooking themed stickers on this page. So I find this that says What's Cooking. I'm going to put that right above vegetable soup. So I go ahead and put that there. And then I also find a cute little heart to put up underneath the yum. And then I look for one more thing that's kind of themed that I can put on the page that'll fit on there. So I find this little outline of like a wooden spoon. I'm just going to put that across the bottom. So that was cool to be able to pull out those old dazzles, because I'm sure those are from the early 2000s. So there's the tab that I was like, oh yeah, I meant to put a tab to start April. And since I had already gone on with my stories, I didn't really have any photographs to insert. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a bunch of printouts I had done. And these are April printouts. They were done about April 7th or 8th, right in there. And I have printouts from both the state of Oregon and how many cases were per county. And then I also had some national maps saying the cases, and then some international maps, as well as some statistical graphs with where they were putting in the actual data and then extrapolating what the curve was going to be and all that, flatten the curve kind of stuff. So I thought this would be a good place to put it, and I think I might do it for the month of May as well. I might print some out now and put those on the tab that starts the month of May, so it kind of shows where the world is in the amount of cases and statistics at that point in time. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the month of May. I don't know. I have enough tabs to do June and July. I'm hoping I won't have to, or it'll be fewer stories. But, as we start reopening things and, yeah. So it's just terrible with all the milk that's getting thrown away and potatoes and the meat packers, and it's crazy. It's like our supply chain is going to be so screwed up for a while. So this is an Oregon map. I'm going to put that at the front, and then I put these other two on this yellow mat. The one was a little bit big, so I just kind of did a little Z fold so you can expand it out to look at it. Put that there, and the other one on the top. And then the other items I have two big maps that are like kind of full 8.5 by 11 sheets. Oh, so before I do that, I decide I better go back and label these months so I quit getting them mixed up. And so I'm going to go ahead and use tile stickers just to put March on this one. I'll just use different tile stickers on each tab. I'll put April on that. So yeah, hopefully things will be getting more and more back to normal. I'll be able to journal more about that and how things reopen and how the cases die down and stuff like that. So that's my hope. So these are the two bigger things I have. So I decided to go back to these envelopes. I used one earlier in the album, and like I said, I don't have any cards or anything that fit them. They're just random envelopes I happen to have in my stash. So I'm going to go ahead and use another one of those. I'm just going to glue that down. I picked the orange one because there's already orange on the background paper. A lot of the things in this binder aren't colors I would normally choose, or even patterns that I would choose to use on a scrapbook layout or anything like that. But in this form or this format, it works just fine to mix and match. And yeah, it takes the stress off. I don't worry about too much about, if things go together or whatnot. It just, yeah, it all gets kind of mixed together. So that pocket was tight. I thought maybe there was something stuck in there, but I got that to go in there. That's the little Z fold kind of pull out. And then I also found some receipts that I meant to put back in March and had forgotten. And that's another thing I like about working in a 3-ring binder, is that it's really easy to insert a page if you forget it for any reason. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a picture of my husband coming out of a grocery store with his glove and masks on and the grocery cart. And I'm going to put the receipts in the back of the pocket just to show what we were buying and what the prices were, for future people who look through this binder. Might find that interesting. Now, of course, we were buying for several households, some that have people who have frail health, some who are housebound and stuff like that. So at first we were just buying it all together, and then I was separating out the items on the invoice, on the receipt, to tell everybody, what they owed us and stuff. But we got judged quite heavily in the store. People saying, boy, it's going to take you a long time to eat all that, and it's just like you felt like you were doing something wrong. And, I'd try to explain to people, this isn't, all for us. This is for people who can't come to the store. And, we're doing our best to try and help and, be compassionate and make sure that shut-ins and other people in frail health get what they need. And so people have to go out and shop for them. So it was kind of sad that people were so, judgy that, it made you just kind of depressed. I mean, you're depressed in the first place, and then people are, bringing you down. And I kind of understand it because there were so many hoarders and stuff earlier that, hoarding is a really bad word. So I don't know. It was just kind of sad. So I will probably journal about that on the back. So I thought, well, I better glue some more lined paper to the back of this because it was only a single-sided piece of paper, and that gives me plenty of room to journal about the whole situation. So I go ahead and stick that on there. And I think this is going to be the last page for this part of my mini album journey here. Go ahead and back it. Pop it in this envelope. I don't know where that clear envelope came from. I think it's like from Memory Makers. Maybe it had stamps or something in it, or I don't know, it was in my stash. So just put the receipts behind it. And then I'm going to insert that into March because that's when that shopping occurred. And then there is my April, and all that white space on this was kind of bothering me, so I thought I'd just go ahead and cut it down to size. That way you can see that there's actually 2 items in that pocket once I get it inserted back in there. And so you guys, thank you so much for watching. I know these are long videos and everything, and thank you so much for your kind comments. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to let me know down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and be safe. Bye.